Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. How are you? So, Ramadan ended, and because of that, weddings has begun again. So, there are two weddings and some others outside. So, I don't know if you can hear what I'm listening to, but uh, it's really heavy. So I hope you don't. Otherwise, it's bothering. So it's a really big noise. Very hard. So if you don't listen to this, better. So today we are in the emotional week of Taurus, in the day of the heart. Today, the topic for today is poetry. So, special day. Poetry is one of the main arts of humans and the expressions of the soul. So, it's incredible how loud is the music. So, imagine if I can hear this like that. Imagine the other side. The other side where I am is terrible. Um, so sorry if I get like this. Um, so in between these concepts of weddings and this and poetry and the concept of poetry, I would like to begin our day today by reading a poem. Hmm? So I'm not the best one on reading poems, but I will try to do my best. I would ask for you to listen to the poem very carefully before you make any conjecture or any thoughts about it. Just pay attention to it because it has interesting things behind. Hmm? I proceed to read this in English. Bridegroom, let me caress you. My precious caress is more savory than honey. In the bedchamber, honey filled, let me enjoy your goodly beauty. Lion, let me caress you. My precious caress is more savory than honey. Bridegroom, you have taken your pleasure of me. Tell my mother she will give you delicacies. My father, he will give you gifts. Your spirit, I know where to cheer your spirit. Bridegroom, sleep in our house until dawn. Your heart, I know where to gladden your heart. Lion, sleep in our house until dawn. You, because you love me, give me prey of your caresses. My Lord God, my Lord Protector, my true sin, who gladdens Enlil's heart. Give my prey of your caresses. Your place, goodly as honey. Pray, lays your hand. Pray, lay your hand on it. Bring your hand over it, like Gishpan garment. Cup your hand over it, like Gishpan Sikin garment. So, this poem is one of the oldest poems in the world. It's a Persian poem from 4,500 years ago, and is the oldest known until now, discovered in a region of Turkey. So it's a very the author is anonym, and the poem is talking about something really sacred, which is the sacred matrimony. The poem is talking about the relationship between the skies and the earth. It's talking about this relation between the goddess Inanna and the Deus, the god of agriculture. So basically, the honey is the liquids of the divine that pours into the earth. So is basically both having sex, heaven and earth having sex for fertility. They are calling for fertility, so the next year they could have better food and better harvest. This story that was in relation with the gods, it was trespassed in the reality by a king, represented by a king and a priestess of Inanna. Both of them, they would have sex in a sacred chamber, so they would pass on the divinity here on earth, to materialize this divinity and to make it more a good year for the people. Okay, so it would be that consumption of sex between the king and one of the priestess. And basically, this poem was set in the moment of the sex, so they could know that that was the gods, and the gods that were having the consummation. As you see, this is the oldest poem of love poem. But now you know the story, you can tell this, that it was not just a love poem. It was something much more deeper. It was basically a spell. A spell that was set in order to manifest the divinity into that relationship through sex. So when they did that, this spell was words said in order to help the act to be transcendental for the entire civilization, for the fertility and the good year. It was much more bigger. And this takes us to the idea of what a poem was in the beginning of our times. In the beginning of our times, a poem was precisely a spell that people used to channel a specific intention from the world of the mind into the matter. So for sure you have heard sometimes the word abracadabra. Maybe in English you have heard the hocus pocus, which is much more used because of a writer in, I don't know which century, that he spoke about magic and so on, and so he called himself like that. But actually, for sure, you have heard the concept of abracadabra. Abracadabra basically means, in Aramaic language, means is done or is being created as I speak. This is the right meaning of abracadabra. Abracadabra, which is this spell that usually you have heard in witches or in movies or something like that, was used by those wizards, by those witches, in order to start the spells. Because when they use this word, after that, everything that they did was needed to be manifested. So Abracadabra basically is not talking about an intention for it to happen. It's talking about something that is happening right now as I speak. And it's saying exactly, I create as I speak the word. So this is the origin of poetry. So why I'm saying this is the origin of poetry? So let's try to understand what poetry is. Okay. Abracadabra means I create as I say. I create as I say. So what's the meaning of poetry? Poetry comes from the Greek word poiesis. Poiesis, it comes from poiein, which is the verb for doing, to do, and sis, that means action. So poiesis is the action of doing something. Okay, poiesis. So basically, poiesis means action of doing something, which basically is to manifest something, to make something to happen according as I say. So which is abracadabra, basically is a spell. So poetry is talking about a spell that helps you to manifest a reality outside. So according to how you say it, you are able to make a new reality. This is why poetry in the beginning of times was basically a way of manifestation, a spell. Very different from what we believe about poetry when we speak about it from the Romanticism in the 18th century. But we will get there, don't worry. Let's begin by the old way. So poiesis. Poiesis is basically what the universe do. The universe is in constant action, doing stuff, creating things, manifesting itself. So the entire universe is creating, and we interpret that creation through the verb. That's why we say, and God said, let be light. So is the verb the one that creates in many cultures. And because of this idea of being the word, the creator, we understand that we also, through the verb, through the voices, can manifest and create using the verbs. So we started to design different ways to manifest through our words to create in the outside, to manifest a reality. So basically, we are poietic beings. Poietic beings means that we are able to manifest, to take action in order to create something. And the quality of being able to do something is what in Greek you call poiesia, which in English gave poetry. So basically, the universe is a great poetry, and the creation itself is the biggest poem. So that's beauty. That's beautiful. If we say that the verb is vibration, this means that poetry, the verb, is basically using the same patterns as music does. What we have here, vibration. Everything is vibration. So this vibration here, the one in violet, is the one we call rhythm. This one here, the three of them in balance and coherence, is the one that we call harmony. And then the parts that compose this structure is what we call melody. Melody. So in music we have this. So these three are going to be called vibration, energy, and matter. Vibration, energy, and matter. So what we have here is that vibration is basically the rhythm. Vibration is these things that vibrates in these waves. Energy is the harmony, because energy is created by different vibrations, positive, negative, neutral. So the combination of the three different vibrations, we have energy. And matter, what would be? The different parts that structure in different ways through vibration and energy. So it's, as you see, it's the same thing. Okay, it's basically the same thing all the time. Okay. So what we have here is that vibration creates energy, and energy helps the matter to exist, makes the matter. How can we translate this? We can say that the word, the verb, sets an intention in order to be manifested. Keep that in mind. The verb, the word, sets an intention to be manifested. Okay? These are the three laws of the universe, the three main structures of the universe. So, the three main structures of the universe. So what we have here then is that the ancient ones, the wise people in the past, what they did was to ask themselves, if the universe works like this, so which tool do we have ourselves to manifest a reality? Which one would be the tool that we have as humans to do exactly the same as the universe? So we have voice. Voice. So the voice is the one that will be able to manifest from the inside, from our minds into the outside, through the voice, our truth, our inner truth. Voice. So energy is action. Energy is action. So basically what it means that in our world, what we have as a tool in order to manifest our voice is the action, is to do something, to move. Basically, the movement is the key of energy. And the matter would be the goal, what we call the object or the objective, what we aim to do. So voice, action, and the object. So in order to get the object, what we have to do is to start to move ourselves and to manifest it through our intention, which is the voice, to say it, basically. So here we will get the sacred trinity of poiesis. So we have here the sacred trinity of poiesis, which is the verse. I don't know this word in English. how do you say this in English? So this is the verse, sorry. Yes? Stanza? Okay. It sounds Italian. Stanza and poem. Thank you. So what is a verse? A verse is basically one of these lines here, which is the rhythm or the vibration. Vibration. Only one. Then we have the stanza, which will be 3 of them, a line that has rhyme, because they resound like a chord in music. So they resound to one another. There are different verses, 1 verse, 2 verses, 3 verses, but they resound together. Okay, so that's a stanza. And then the poem is the conjunction of all the parts, many stanzas. So all this is the poem, the one that makes coherence and gives the meaning to the entire poem. So what we have here now is that the ancient ones, what they did was to take a verse, which is verbs with some words, specific words, and they create a sentence with those words with a specific intention. So this intention will have to create a stanza with resonance in different vibrations, so it can match the vibration of the environment. And all together creating a poem will give the meaning in order to manifest. Basically, this is what we call a mantra, a spell, a curse, a blessing. Okay? So everything that I can think about, which is to say something in order to manifest the intention to make it real, to make it happen, is poetry. Because poetry is basically to take action into make something happen. For sure, we have heard many times that be careful with what you say, because you have to, everything that you say could happen, or the curses can happen, and so on. And it's not that easy. It's not that you just say it and it happens. No, it's not that easy. Why? Because in order for something to happen, you have to create alchemy. And that alchemy basically is for yourself to turn yourself into the vibration that you are saying it. You have to be in the balance in order to manage the information that you say. And also, that information that you say has to be in the same kind of vibration that the environment is. Because if the environment is in a very different vibration, so you won't get to do anything. When you say something, if the environment is vibrating very high and you say something low, it won't reach, because the environment will change it immediately. Okay, so basically, as a silly example, it would be like trying to put sunblocker on your skin and go out a day of rain. Okay, so it won't work. It's important to understand that the word doesn't have any power if you don't have power. If you don't have this word that we always say, which is coherence. If the 3 bodies of yourself, spirit, soul, and body, the physical one, they are not connected, they are not aligned, this is like building or having a house, a building with no structure. So it can fall down. it doesn't have really a really good basement. Okay, so actually, in order to have power in your word, you have to have your power within, with yourself, inside. I was telling that when I was a child, sometimes or a few times, I went to the church because someone was baptized or whatever, and I saw how some priests, they were saying the same words that all the priest does, and they are not doing anything. I was telling to my mom, I don't know why. What is he saying? Because it's not working. What he's trying to do is not working. Um, but there were other priests that I saw that they were doing exactly the same with the same words, and it worked. It was beautiful what they were creating. So it's not about the sentence. It's not the sentence itself that has the power. It's how you say it. It's the structure and the alignment that you have. Okay. So in the ancient times, they used the poetry as a way of manifesting. So in order to do that, they needed to learn how to be themselves, how to gain power within. So in order to do that, people needed to study how to be in their axis, how to be empowered by themselves. So poetry, the words that they would say, they would after that be able to manipulate the weather, manipulate people, also to do miracles, to create realities, to do alchemy, to make potions, to guide civilizations. So each word, each letter is like a key to open a door. Like the language I was sharing to you in some other videos and things. It doesn't matter the word, the key, if you have no idea how to turn the key and which door it is. There are simply words after that, if you don't know how to use it. Okay? So poetry started to be a way of using the verb, the sound, in order to manifest. Poetry started to be used as a way to be used in the ceremonies in order to manifest the divinity, the divine, into the matter. It turned out to be a way to describe the path of gods. What is the path that you have to take in order to become yourself a god? This is why it became to be a way to describe the path of heroes, normal people that ended up being like gods. So basically, poetry started to be a way to express the love for the divine. So it became a way to honor God. And eventually came a moment with the Renaissance that poetry started to be used to describe the beauty of the world, of human beings. And after that, poetry started to be a way to describe the human love, the relationships, the common life, the wars, sadness, emotions, and revolutions. And as a popular way, after the 18th century with the Romanticism, we started to see poetry as romantic, to describe the beauty, but just a way of description. a powerful way to describe. And we have seen that even though the romantical way that we have of poetry, this art has been the key for many revolutions, for many changes, for deep sides of humanity. Because even if we still believe that poetry is just for romance, the power of the word has taught us that it has much more power than that. In our times now, we are here taking a path to know ourselves, to know that we can create with the verb, that we are able to manifest with the word. So in order to do that, we first have to know ourselves very much. And this is what in our times could take us to a new kind of poetry that we call the autopoiesis, which is the ability to create yourself, to make yourself. So in this path of knowing ourselves, of finding the way in which we can create ourselves, we discovered this concept of autopoiesis, which is a term that was used and taken as a standard by Humberto Maturana from Chile. So, and as a biologist, he explained how the universe is not created by someone, the universe is creating by itself all the time. So basically the universe is this poetry that is being developing itself. And that's what we are doing. I guess that from now we have a different perspective from what is poetry. And we can recognize that from the very beginning, poetry has been a way to manifest, a way to make the words, the ideas into action, to do something with it. So it was a spell, a mantra, to bring the divinity, the inside into the outside. And that is poiesis, that is poetry. And today, in our path of the I am, to know that we have the power to create ourselves that action with the words. So we can now say that we are working the autopoiesis. So to the question, how can I do in order to start to manifest and create with my word, I will say this. Don't hurry. First, work in yourself. Integrate all the information that we have been working with the I am path during this whole year. And once we do our job of autopoiesis, then we will be able to start work in poiesis. The vibration for today is Ri. So the statement for today is, I am guardian of the heart. So as you see here, we are using poetry every day because Ri is one of the sounds that we use in order to create then the ability to manifest the sentence that we do, which is the poetry. So we are doing this every day.